So, what is it that makes a story truly scary? Not just the jump scares or the obvious monsters. Today, we're going to deconstruct the very architecture of fear itself, using three incredibly unsettling, real life accounts to figure out what really, truly haunts us in the middle of the night. Let's start with a big one, a question we've all asked ourselves. Why are we really afraid of the dark? It's such a universal feeling, but the answer, well, it's probably not what you think. You see, it's so easy to just assume that our fear of the dark is about, not being able to see. Simple as that. But the actual source of that terror is something way more active. It's not about what's taken away, it's about what's added to the darkness. That's what it is. It's that chilling possibility of what could be hiding just on the edge of your vision. This, the presence of the unknown, is the game changer. It's what can take the safest space you can imagine, your own bedroom, and turn it into a stage where your deepest fears get to play out. And our first case study explores exactly that. I mean, what happens when the very roof over your head, the one thing that's supposed to protect you, is breached by something totally, utterly unpredictable? So, look at how this all kicks off. It's so normal. The narrator is awake for a totally mundane reason, pain meds after surgery. He hears a sound. And what's his first thought? An animal, right? Every single step he takes is logical, but each one is pulling him closer and closer to something terrifying. Flashlight in hand, he sweeps the beam across the shingles, fully, 100% expecting to see a raccoon, maybe a possum. It's the only rational assumption. This is literally the last moment of normalcy before his entire world gets turned upside down. And there it is. Everything just flips on its head. The threat isn't some simple pest. It's this deeply uncanny, horrifying image of a naked person standing where nobody, absolutely nobody, should be. The fear just explodes from that jarring, nonsensical reality that's staring him right in the face. From that point on, the whole encounter just descends into absolute chaos. This intruder, he doesn't act like a normal person. He moves with what they called absurdly fast speed, survives a fall that should have completely crippled him, and then attacks like a wild animal. He just defies all the normal limits of human strength and durability, which makes him feel like something else entirely, something monstrous. Okay, let's move on to our second story. You'll see how the horror here builds from that kind of raw physical threat to something much more psychological. This one's all about the violation of your private space. Not by someone breaking in, but just by them watching. So look at this setup. It's classic. We start in a place that feels perfectly safe and normal. A cozy movie night. And then, bam, that jarring intrusion. A weird noise from just outside the house that rips them out of their comfort zone and plants that first little seed of dread. And this is such a critical shift. See, that first noise, they can explain it away. Oh, it was just an animal in the trash. Problem solved. But that easy explanation gets replaced by something way more deliberate, way more personal, and a whole lot creepier. A gentle but persistent tapping right on his bedroom window. This moment of hesitation is it's everything, isn't it? He knows he shouldn't look. I mean, every single instinct in his body is screaming at him to just stay away from that window. But that human need to know, to see what's out there, it's just too strong. And there it is. The horror here isn't a chase, it isn't some big fight. It is the quiet, bone-chilling confirmation of your absolute worst fear. You are being watched. And the closeness of it all, just 2 inches of glass separating him from this thing, makes that violation feel so incredibly intimate and just terrifying. So for our final story, we're going to take this idea of violation to its absolute extreme. What happens when the threat isn't trying to get in anymore? What happens when it has somehow, impossibly, already bypassed all your defenses, and it's in the house, with you? So this narrator, a guy living completely alone, describes the dead silence of 3 a.m. being just shattered. First, he hears footsteps pounding down his hallway, and then deafening, violent bangs on his locked bedroom door. The safety of his last little refuge is now under direct assault. And this is where the horror becomes a total mind-bender. The guy isn't trapped by a person anymore. He's trapped by a set of facts that just can't exist together. There were footsteps, but nobody was there. The doors and windows were all locked tight, but somehow something got in and then got back out. His brain and ours just can't make sense of it. It's a logical impossibility. Okay, so what's the common thread here? We've got three totally distinct, super terrifying experiences. What is it that connects them and makes them so damn effective as modern horror stories? Well, when we actually lay it all out like this, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. You can see how each story pushes deeper and deeper into our sense of security, from the outside perimeter to the sanctuary of the window to the compromised interior itself. But here's the most important part. Each one hinges on a core, unexplained element that completely and totally defies any kind of rational explanation. And that brings us to the real secret sauce of modern horror. It's the lack of resolution. That's the active ingredient. Who was the man on the roof? Why was the face of the window? How did someone get inside a locked house? The fact that we have no motive, no identity, and no explanation, that's what lets the fear just sit there and fester long, long after the event is over. And that's the final, kind of unsettling thought we want to leave you with. Because what these stories really suggest is that our whole sense of security, the locks on our doors, the logic in our heads, it might just be a pretty fragile illusion, one that can be shattered in an instant by the presence of the unknown.